23 total crashes in 2025. Stay up to date on local news at nwksradio.net.
Today and tomorrow, temperatures will be much above normal in the mid to upper 80s with high pressure overhead. It will be sunny with west winds turning to the southeast at 5 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, those south winds will increase 20 to 30 miles per hour. Lows will be in the low 50s. And tomorrow, gusty southwest winds at 20 to 30 miles per hour will have a fire weather watch in place for counties along and west of Highway 25. A dry line along the Kansas-Colorado border may trigger some scattered late afternoon and evening storms. Lows will be in the mid-40s. Thursday and Friday will be cooler. High temps drop into the 70s with breezy northwest winds at 15 to 25, gusting to 35 miles per hour on Thursday. Lows will be in the mid to upper 30s. Over the weekend, an upper-level trough will increase chances for rain and usher in colder air. Rain is most likely Saturday night into Sunday. Highs will be in the 60 to 65 degree range. This meteorologist Chris Schromick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
At Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic, they believe in promoting healthier living through compassionate quality care. From state-of-the-art maternity care to life-saving emergency services, their dedicated team is there for you and your family. Whether it's managing diabetes, navigating recovery, or receiving specialized treatments, they're committed to your well-being. Discover the difference a community-focused hospital can make. Visit rayhospital.org today to learn more. Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic. Your health, our priority.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pest Away in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pest Away today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
Got your tax refund? Don't blow it. Upgrade it at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Get into a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 up to $7,000 in rebates or 2.9% for 48 months. Or into a 26 GMC Sierra 2500, $1,000 rebate or 4.9% for 48 months. And the 26 GMC Acadia 2.9% APR plus $750 in rebates with GM Financial. Your refund won't last, but a new GMC will. Stop by Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland or visit hurlchev.com.
Discount Dan strikes again. His shady contract has no warranty.
He said, trust me, and now my wall's doing yoga. Not on my watch.
Supervan unleashes the written warranty of truth.
With Morton, what's on paper means something. Let's rebuild this right with strength, support, and trusses that don't nap during windstorms. Don't just build like a hero with Supervan the Morton Man.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The insurance agency. Insurance the way it should be.
When you gotta go, but there's nowhere to go, who you gonna call? Topside Portables and Pumping, that's who. Weddings, job sites, farm parties, they've got clean, reliable porta potties that don't stink, literally. And if your septic tank smells worse than last year's chili cook-off, they'll pump it out fast. No mess, no fuss. Family owned, Heartland values, always ready. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside Portables and Pumping. When duty calls, they answer.
You ready? One, two, three, four! It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
I'm old, I'm white, and I don't understand any of it.
The High Plains only local sports talk show. Broadcasting live on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 and video streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Sky is everywhere.
Covering it all from the preps to the pros.
Right side throw, touchdown! Kansas City!
The Blitz is presented by Hurl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, along with
Pest Away LLC, Topside Portables and Pumping, Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell, and the insurance agency.
Let's go to work. And Brenton drives this up the alley in left center field. It'll go to the wall. Home comes Jordan back. Doyle thinking 3, but he'll hold with an RBI double.
Moves. Caglione drives it and well deep to center. Could it be? It is his first home run of the year.
Down goes over to Murray from half court.
Got it! He did it again! Tie ball game at 64. Jamal Murray, have yourself a half.
Miller to Ehlers. Slot shot. Score! Jordan Martinook in double overtime.
Is there anything better in sports than the train horn that sounds after every hockey goal? I don't know if there's anything better, Garrett, than the sound of that. How does that not get your American red blood just pumping through that thing, my man?
That gets me fired up for sure.
Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Ross Volkmer, Garrett Wellbrock with you here on this Tuesday edition of the Morning Blitz. April the 21st is the date. A beautiful morning here on the high plains. The sun is out shining. It's 51 degrees, and temperature is going to get into the upper 80s, and a beautiful day for sure on tap for a busy local sports day in our listening area. We've got plenty of the Scott City Relays track meet is going on today, which is a very popular track meet that's happening. You've got plenty of baseball and softball happening today, and it looks like we're going to have some nice weather. You know, Garrett, you're a former baseball player yourself. You even dabbled a little bit in college. I mean, these are the type of days that you're like, I'm excited to get to the yard because we got some beautiful weather. And I'm sure there were plenty of days where you're like, I don't want to go because it's wind's blowing 40 out of the north.
Oh, all the time, especially when the wind is blowing in from the outfield, because as a hitter yourself, I mean, when you're pitching, you love it. But when you're hitting, you hate when the wind blows in because you want to get the ball elevated and maybe hit a couple out of the yard.
Now, I was going to say, did you do both things? Were you a hitter or a pitcher? What were you?
I did both. I did both in high school. I think about everybody does. And then in college, dabbled a little bit of both. But I liked hitting more. My arm started to give out, the elbow. Was starting to give out a little bit, so it really wasn't as good of a pitcher as I used to be once I got to college.
In the words of Toby Keith, I ain't as good as I once was.
Exactly.
You didn't have to have any type of surgery, did you?
No surgeries, but just some tendonitis that kept building up. So,
well, that's all right. I'm just glad you stopped soon enough, I guess, is the best way to put it, to prevent any further damage. But we got a full show ahead today. We've got plenty of local sports to get to a little bit later on. We'll highlight there's a massive college baseball game tonight in the state of Kansas. We'll get to that in the walk-off. I'm very excited about our guest today. I've been working on this one for a long time, but was finally able to get a hold and scheduled to former Goodland Cowgirl, Fort Hays State Lady Tiger, and now Oklahoma State basketball player Telex Weeder will join us today to talk about her transition from being the Division II Player of the Year and now going to play at Oklahoma State. You even have some sort of you've covered some of those games, haven't you? A little bit there, Garrett.
Yeah, I did more on the men's side here at 4 days because we had so many broadcasters this year, which is always great to have at Tiger Media Network, which is our student broadcasting program here at 4 days. And yeah, I did a little bit of women's, but obviously she was here for 3 years. So I did cover Telexa a little bit in her time at 4 Day State. And what an opportunity to be able to go to Oklahoma State with, you look 10 years ago, this wouldn't have been a possibility, but here we are in 2026 and she gets to go play some Division I basketball.
Yeah, usually I'm anti-portal guy, but these are the type of situations that I feel better with. It's like, you went to a school and you proved that you are an exceptional player at a lower level, and now you get an opportunity to go try and prove it at a bigger school or a bigger classification, whatever it may be. I'm okay with that. You earned your stripes. Maybe you got overlooked out of high school, and now you get a chance to go shine. At a bigger D1 program, like in the example of Telexa Weeder. Like, I loved the grad transfer rule. I don't know why. I loved that rule. You worked your 4 years, you got your degree. If you want to go to another school and work on your master's at another school and get another year of eligibility, I liked that rule personally because that was like, hey, you got a chance to go do something bigger if you wanted to.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's got the thin line there of you got some of the players that go everywhere, new school every single season. But this is obviously a different situation where you spent 3 years at 4 Day State. You were the D2 Women's Basketball Player of the Year. Like, you're just making the move up. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, so we'll visit with Alexa Weeder. She is scheduled to join us coming up here in about 15 to 20 minutes here on the Morning Blitz. As always, FNB Bank text line open at 785-899-2222. If you'd like to be part of the Morning Blitz, we'd love to hear from you. Get your thoughts, your comments, your questions in. We will take all your thoughts and all that stuff throughout the show here on the Morning Blitz. Speaking of Alexa Weeder and the transfer portal, that's where our first segment is going to take us to here this morning. This was actually Garrett's side. Garrett had this thought on his weekend winners, but of course we had some technical difficulties yesterday, but we've got those ironed out, as you can all hear and see. So we are ready to go for this, but he had one of his winners of the weekend was K-State men's basketball in their transfer portal class, at least to this point in time. Casey Alexander, first-year head coach, has been doing a great job in the portal of accumulating players to pretty much rebuild that roster from scratch. I think only one guy is scheduled to be back. That would be Andre Kostic, the three-point shooter from across the pond. But other than that, they got to bring in pretty much everybody new. And so Casey Alexander had a lot of work to do, and he has done a good job filling that. So you had this as a winner of the week, and I'd like to get your initial thoughts, Garrett, on why you think this has been a very successful start to the Casey Alexander era.
Well, I mean, kind of like you said, they didn't have a team when he came in for the most part. I mean, yeah, maybe one or two guys, but I believe it's 8 to my count, 8 new faces, and they're not necessarily, I mean, Jerome Tang seemed to be the guy. He could go and get maybe the top transfer, and PJ Haggerty, Coleman Hawkins the last couple seasons, but they didn't have any depth. Like there was nothing on the bench, even in the starting five at times. And I think the 8 guys that he's been able to get they're more going to play to his style. They're not just he went and got the top player. Like he is fitting to his style of how he wants to coach. And I know a lot of K-State fans were a little getting nervous there. He didn't get any Belmont guys. Nobody came with him from Belmont. But I still think some of the players he got are going to be good pieces for this K-State basketball team. And I think if you're a K-State fan, you should be excited. I mean, it's a completely different style. Like I kind of see it as what Nebraska and Iowa are doing. Like they're not going out, and they both went to the Sweet 16 Elite 8. They didn't go and get just the best transfer players. They got players that fit their needs and were able to make a run in March Madness.
No, you're exactly right. I think that is I think this is that was the one knock I think against Jerome Tang. And honestly, continuing our conversation from the first part, this is the one thing I'm fascinated to see with Oklahoma State women's basketball is they've gone out. I mean, you've seen the rest of the portal class, haven't you? With Audie Crooks and whoever else that guard from Florida, Liv, I forget her last name, but I mean, they've brought in some star players at Oklahoma State. And Alexa Weeder, of course, is a very good player herself from a level below, but they are amazing. They are bringing in a whole bunch of star players. And that's kind of what Kansas State did. And the problem is for K-State, and I've said this before in the program, Garrett, is that they hit. You know, they rolled the dice and they hit. They hit 7 right away out of the gate with Jerome Tang, and that led all the way to the Elite 8, almost to the Final Four. And guess what? That did them in because they thought, we're going to be able to do this the rest of the time. We'll go out and we'll get the best players we can get, and then we'll try and see if we can get them to play together. And it didn't happen. It's what did not happen. And that's what I think Jerome Tang did during his tenure is he went out and got the best players. He had the financial backing to do it, but he was just like, well, we'll get them here and then we'll figure out what we're going to do. Whereas you said exactly right. I know for a fact, Nebraska knows that they have a system. They have a system that they have used now for the last we're going to say 3 to 4 years underneath Fred Hoiberg, that plays really tough style of defense, but needs to have everybody on the floor be able to be a threat to shoot from the outside. Need to have a 5-man who can handle the ball a little bit and bring the ball up the floor. Need to have that at times. They've gone out and they've recruited those pieces in the portal, and they've had success. Whereas once again, I thought K-State just kind of plucked the best players we could get. All right, let's get it. Let's see if we can get it played together. And you're like you said, you're starting to see with Casey Alexander, and he said that in his opening press conference about a month or so ago. He said, "Look, we got to go out and we got to find guys that don't have to be amazing shooters, but they need to have the ability to shoot the ball from the outside. And if you look at anybody and everybody that's on that eight guys that you mentioned, they have that ability to shoot from the outside."
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of back to your point on what Jerome Tang was doing. They would you obviously have your NIL budgets now with the new college basketball and how it's kind of played out. It seemed to me like they would put all their NIL money in one or two players, and they would get those two guys like the PJ Haggertys of the world. And then you have no money for your other guys, your 6th, 7th man off the bench or your 4th, 5th starters. And those are some of their most important players. You need that depth, especially in the Big 12 conference, because it is probably the toughest basketball conference in the entire country. Every night is just a grueling dogfight, really. I mean, you have to be at your A game every single night. And they just if you have one guy out, if PJ Haggerty was dealing with a hamstring tightness or anything, you're not going to win that night if you can't even have your best player out on the floor with no depth.
No, and so if you look at this transfer class that Coach Casey Alexander for Kansas State has put together, and if you're a K-State basketball fan, hit us up on FB Bank text line with your thoughts on this transfer portal class at this point in time. There's not a lot of superstar power. You're not going to go through this lineup and see a bunch of guys that are like, well, those guys were stars at their respected schools, but they are pretty much 3-star guys. But once again, you have Coach Alexander out there looking for a certain type of player, a guy who has the knack and the ability to knock down the outside jumper, I think is number one. You see that with guys like Jaden Schutt, the transfer from Virginia Tech, who, by the way, was a big-time recruit out of high school. He was originally he originally went to Duke, then transferred to Va Tech, now going to Kansas State. A guy from just down the road here in Goodland at Fort Collins, Brandon Rechsteiner. He was a shooting guard at the point guard spot from Colorado State. They went and got those guys. They got a couple athletic guys, and Desdrick Lindsey from Oregon, and Isaiah Abraham, the young man from Georgetown, guys that didn't play a lot but were athletic guys. And then the thing that really stood out to me, and our good friend of the program, Riley Gates, pointed this out, was that I don't have any problem with having 3 guys on the roster that are 6'10" or taller. They've got height out there.
Absolutely. And that's kind of something they had been lacking a little bit too, is just a really good post presence. I think really ever since Naquan Tomlin was over there at K-State, and of course his situation several years ago, but he's probably their last true big guy that they've had that can really stretch the floor and play a post position as well. And I mean, you're looking at, they got JT Rock, who's 7'1" out of New Mexico State. I think he can be a real game changer for that Cats lineup.
Yeah, he's 7'1". You've got Brock Weiss at 6'10", the transfer from Murray State, and Matt, I think it's Gilhool is how you say his name, the transfer from LSU. And the one thing about Gilhool, and I think Rock as well, I'll double check on this, but I believe both those guys are underclassmen. They're not just one and done transfers. So they have a little bit of, they can develop a little bit if Coach Casey Alexander can keep them around. So he's got some size. Now, I'll push back on this. They did have Coleman Hawkins, who was 6'10". He was some size. They did have Big Luka this year. I'm not going to say he was great, but he was size. They did have some size at Kansas State. It may not have been the most skilled, and we don't know about these guys and how their talents will transfer into the Big 12 conference. But it certainly is. You can definitely tell by Coach Alexander, he knew what he wanted when he went in the portal, what he was looking for, and he's gone after these guys because they possess something that he needs. And that, I think to me, I feel like that is a big step in the right direction for K-State basketball. Whereas once again, I felt like it was kind of just grab the best you could and make it work previously underneath Jerome Tang.
Yeah, I just felt like there was no structure at all. And even during the games, you'd be late in the season and it didn't seem like there was much offense being ran. And just talking to some of the people I know that are big K-State fans, they kind of saw the same thing. And I would imagine that it's going to be a lot different this next season, especially when you look at their roster. I mean, they're not going to be the most athletic team in the Big 12, but they're going to have shooters. They're going to have just high IQ basketball players that know what they have to do to go out and get wins.
The one thing that will be interesting is that you do see a good mix of the stuff for K-State is the mix of a little bit of old with a little bit of new. And then that's one thing that I think as a coach, you have to have in the front of your mind when you are putting together a team each and every year, is that if you're going to compete for tournament spots, I think you have to find a way to be older nowadays. You have to find a way to get older players that have been through the fire and understand what it takes to win and play college basketball. It's very difficult to do that with an extremely young basketball team because they just haven't been through the fire. And with a lot of other teams going out and getting guys who are playing in their 4th, 5th, heck, even some guys 6th or more year, unfortunately, in college basketball, you're getting those guys together. But now you're getting these teams, I think that's another thing I know from the Nebraska perspective is they don't really want to go out and get a whole bunch of guys that are freshmen and sophomore transfers. They want to get older guys. You want to get old. You want to stay old because those guys have the experience in playing college basketball at this level for multiple years. They know what it takes in the daily grind, all that stuff. And so that's another thing to watch here too, as every team puts together their portal class, teams that usually get the older guys and stay old and have the experience of the teams that usually find some success.
Yeah, and that's the thing that kind of sucks about it when you're like a high school kid and if you're not one of the 4 or 5 star recruits, you're going to get undervalued for sure, and you're probably going to end up at a mid-major. But that's where you can really start to fine tune your craft and become a Power 5 basketball player at some point. Like we mentioned with Telexa Weeder playing 3 years at Fort Hays State, and now she gets the opportunity to go to Oklahoma State. I mean, you're going to get those more opportunities when you get older. But you can really, I think it's kind of cool at the same time for like the mid-majors. I mean, you could go get a really good freshman, and yeah, they might only be there for 1 or 2 years, but they could help build your team up and possibly make the tournament. And I mean, for mid-major teams, that's really what you're looking for, is to make the NCAA tournament, and you can get that.
Yeah, it's an interesting change. I mean, once again, I've never been a huge fan of the transfer portal era, and I'm hoping they find a way to kind of tamp that down. There have been discussions, of this 5-for-5 rule that's coming down the pipe. You get 5 years to play your sport no matter what. And then the other rule that's kind of possibly getting tossed around, and once again, this one's going to be harder to get past, but it is, you get one free transfer, and then after that, you have to sit out for a year in order to go to the next one, which was kind of like the old rule. But like I said, you said exactly right. It is hard on the high school kids that are coming out that want to try and go play. Unless you are, like you said, a star player, you're not going to really get a chance to go play at the high levels and heck, you may even go to the high levels, but you may have to sit for a year and then you don't like that. So then you do transfer down to try and find a spot. And there's tons of kids that do that as well. And I guess one of the reasons I bring up the mix about the old and the young as a transition here is that Kansas basketball, if you've taken a look at their portal side, if you look at their portal stuff, I'm telling you, that's a different deal for them. If you take a look at their portal class for Bill Self, you look at their guys and it's a completely different deal. They have 2 guys that they have signed in from the transfer portal. Leroy Blyden Jr., who signed in just yesterday, the transfer from Toledo, who was the MAC Rookie of the Year. It's a great pickup for Kansas. And then Keanu Dawes, who was the Utah's best player last year, a power forward, 6'9". Those are the only 2 incoming transfers that Bill Self has at this point in time. He still has 7 spots to fill at Kansas. 7.
It's crazy. I mean, it's so wild to me that everybody left. I mean, I get it. They didn't have as good of a year as a lot of people expected, but also you got to look back to the season and think there was a lot of injuries during the year. I mean, Darren Peterson didn't play for probably a good quarter of the season, at least maybe a third of the year. So it was really injury riddled season. So very odd to see everybody go. And I know a lot of people frustrated about the Bryson Tiller move that happened last week going to Missouri, the border rival. I mean, that is really disheartening if you're a Kansas.
Yeah, that really puts it in your craw. That's for sure. And, we were talking about them staying old teams staying old. And if you look at that roster for Kansas, I mean, he's Bill Self, he's got these 2 guys. He's got this guy's Blyden's a sophomore. Dawes will be a senior, but he's got, I think, 4 or 5 incoming freshmen. He doesn't have really anybody that is, besides one player, anybody that's an upperclassman. And that's not what you want to see in today's college basketball. And you probably shouldn't see at a blue blood like Kansas, because if you're going to win at a high level consistently, you need to have older guys in today's college athletics. And Kansas doesn't have that right now. They have the spots to fill it and change that. But as of right now, it's an extremely young group.
Yeah, for sure. And it's the portal is not, it's not getting any bigger. So they're going to have to go get some pieces, and they're going to have to go get them quick.
We will see what Kansas does here in the coming weeks. I have no doubt they're going to fill those spots, and they'll find some great guys. They're talking to some guys from VCU. They're talking to some guys from, I think, St. Bonaventures with another one that they're looking at. College of Charleston. They're looking at some guys there as Bill Self. We'll see. He's got plenty of spots to fill, but right now he's got a lot of work to do in the transfer portal. All right, let's get to our first break. When we come back, speaking of the transfer portal, we'll talk to a young lady who has lived it. Telexa Weeder, former Goodland Cowgirl, Fort Hays State Tiger, and now going to be an Oklahoma State Cowgirl again. She will join us next on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. We'll talk to her about her experience in the portal, being the Division II Player of the Year, and now getting a chance to achieve her dream of playing Division I basketball. We'll get to all that next on a Tuesday edition of the Morning Blitz. Stick around.
Here's a bright idea. Don't buy the cheapest TP. It's not worth it. You know what is worth it? IdeaTek high-speed fiber internet. IdeaTek delivers seamless high-speed connectivity, and it won't disintegrate at just the worst possible moment. Don't go single-ply when it comes to your connectivity. Go fast and reliable. Reliability and quality, another bright idea from IdeaTek. Get high-speed IdeaTek fiber internet at IdeaTek.com.
You can feel it in the air, longer days, greener lawns, and plenty of projects waiting around the house. Good thing Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland has you covered. Freshen up your home with Benjamin Moore paint, tackle the yard with powerful Ego battery tools, and give your lawn the boost it needs with Stage 1 Ultimate Fertilizer. Thinking about cooking outside? Check out their great selection of grills, griddles, smokers, and outdoor living essentials. And remember, if you need it, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware probably has it. They eat and have milk. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your place for just about everything.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, this is Kate Thompson with Skyland Grain. Today is Tuesday, April 21st. Grain markets mixed on the overnight. May corn higher 1 1/4 at 4.53 1/4. July up 1 1/2 at 4.61 1/2. December corn up a cent at 4.80 1/4. May soybeans up 6 1/4 at 11.71 1/2. July up 7 at 11.87 3/4. November beans up 5 3/4 at 11.62 1/4. Kansas City wheat lower 2 cents on the overnight to 6.33. July down 2 1/2 at 6.45. December hard wheat down 2 1/2 at 6.71 3/4. Chicago wheat to make contract lower a cent at 5.94 3/4. July down a cent at 6.04. December soft wheat down a cent at 6.35 1/2. On the cattle side of things, live cattle down $1 on the overnight to 246.15. Feeders down $1.95 at $369. Lean hogs up $1.12 at $94.32 a hundredweight. On the equity side of things this morning, the Dow up $233 at 49,872. The S&P up 16 at 7,164. The Nasdaq up 76 at 26,824. Gold lower $30 an ounce at 4,799. Crude oil down 30 cents a barrel at $89.31. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call. John Hanke or John Skiles, 970-744-4484. Our Kansas City office, Tyler Ghosh, Tom Pluto, Jared Law at 913-748-3000. Or our Ulysses office, Cindy Warner, Austin Wright, or myself, Kate Thompson at 602-356-7800.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Farmers looking to boost crop performance and improve your profitability? Thiosulfates can help you do both. With Thiosol and KTS, you can create custom blends that allow you to extend your UAN supply while providing essential sulfur to your crop. Thiosulfates also protect your nitrogen investment by reducing losses through both nitrate leaching and denitrification, keeping more nitrogen available for your corn. Protect your nitrogen investment and increase yields with KTS and Thiosol. Call your local ag dealer today or visit TessenderLocurley.com.
This is Chad Epler, Kansas Corn Commissioner and a farmer from Southeast Kansas. We're always looking for ways to add value to the corn we grow, and that's why the National Corn Growers Association and the Kansas Corn Commission support innovations like AirTerra air filters, made from corn-based materials. AirTerra turns our crops into high-performance air filters that help clean the air in your home and office, creating new markets for corn and supporting rural communities. When you choose AirTerra, you're supporting farm families and homegrown innovation. Kansas Corn is working for farmers and working for you.
It's not just sports, it's your morning game plan.
I don't even believe you have a plan. I have
part of a plan. That is not a plan.
This is the Morning Blitz.
All right, chugging along on a Tuesday. 4 minutes past the bottom of the hour here on this beautiful Tuesday morning. EpiBank text line. A couple of quick thoughts from last segment. Michael says Bryson Tiller can kick rocks. Muck Fazoo. And Rob chimes in on the EpiBank text line, 785-899-2220. He thinks Darren Peterson disrupted and caused discord for the whole team. Yes, I think that's pretty obvious, Rob. I personally think that. I know some people don't, but that's what I personally think. Let's transition here. We're pleased to welcome onto the show, and I really appreciate her working with me. I've been nothing but a pest to her for probably a month now, but we're pleased to welcome onto the program. Telexa Weeder joins us, the Division II Basketball Women's Player of the Year. She joins us now on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Good morning, Telexa. Thank you so much for getting up.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh. What is this like? What's this been like for the last couple weeks? It's had to have been just an absolute whirlwind. Can you kind of just give us a quick synopsis on what this has all been like, going from being the Division II Player of the Year to getting a chance to go chase your dream and play Division I basketball and landing at the spot that you have?
Yeah, it's definitely been busy. Since the end of the season, I've just been pretty much on the phone. But yeah, being on the phone, that's very exhausting. But it's been just so much fun just seeing different schools and just what they have to offer me and what their program has to offer me. Yeah, it's just been really fun.
If we take a step back and we go back to, when you went to Fort Hays State and you didn't get a chance to kind of play a lot your first year, but you've played a ton since then, and heck, you've transitioned the Division II Player of the Year. What has that process been like from you, just kind of putting your head down and working to achieve a goal? Maybe that probably wasn't even a goal. You just wanted to be a really good basketball player, but to achieve a goal that very few ever do, and that being the Division II Women's Basketball Player of the Year. How sweet has that been to taste that kind of success?
I mean, yeah, when I came into Hayes, obviously, it wasn't how I wanted to start my collegiate career, but I just knew, I just had to keep working, and everything would turn out the way that I wanted it to turn out if I just kept working hard. And yeah, obviously that paid off, and it showed. But yeah, this last season, it's just been amazing. Yeah, just all my hard work really paid off.
So, sorry, Ross.
No, go ahead, please. Please.
Oklahoma State being the spot you end up, it was really quick. It seemed like you weren't in the portal for very long. What was really the buying point that Oklahoma State had to you in their pitch?
Yeah, I mean, their coaches were amazing. JC Hoyt. I didn't really know her. I knew of her. I knew that she was an amazing coach, and I knew that she's the coach I want to be coached by and just be grown as a person and player throughout the season next year.
I got to ask, did Coach Hoyt drop a Western Kansas thing in there at some point in time? Like, I'm not too far from where you're from. One of those.
Yes, she did. Yes.
Telexa Weeder is our guest here on the Morning Blitz. Division II Women's Basketball Player of the Year, future Oklahoma State Cowgirl. How cool is it to go back to being a Cowgirl for the final year? That's kind of like it's a full circle type deal.
I know. Yeah, it is a full circle. Yeah, it feels good to be a Cowgirl again.
This is great. You were talking about your trans, being the Division II Player of the Year. What went right for you here this previous year? What really clicked for you? I mean, you were having a good year prior and really a good finish to that second year for you, but this last year, things really took off. What do you think really changed in your game or your understanding of the player, of the teams you were taking on, the opponents you were facing? What really took off here this previous year for you?
Yeah, I mean, I had amazing teammates around me. Brooke Lowe, she was my point guard. She got me the ball when I needed the ball. And yeah, just the summer before this season, I really just focused on my nutrition and just being in shape because I knew I was going to be playing more minutes, and that really just took me up a level because that stuff really does matter, and just the skill work that I gained throughout that summer, it just progressed into the season.
That nutrition thing, is that something you just kind of learned on your own and kind of did on your own, or did you have some help there from some of the trainers and stuff at Fort Hays State?
No, I just kind of did it myself. I've always kind of been into the health side of things, and I just really took it on last summer, and yeah, it really made a difference.
When you look back at this previous year, or maybe it's the previous 2 years, was there a moment where it was just kind of like, I could do this at a higher level? Like it was kind of like, I can play against the big girls and the big teams and have success. Was there a moment this year that happened?
I mean, yeah, I would say it happened more this year than it like last year or anything. But it was kind of towards more the end of the season. I really believed, I was like, it's always been a dream for me. And just I was 30 every game, and I was like, I can do this at the higher level. Like I want to chase that dream that I've had since I was a little girl.
So you had 40 plus actually in a couple of games too this year. It was a 46 in the first round of NCAA tournament, I think. Just talk about those games when it's going, it feels like.
Yeah. I mean, that game, it was, I don't know, I had something pushing me the last game. It was the MIAA tournament. We lost the first round. And that game, I feel like I was a little hesitant with my shots, and I scored 23 that game, but I was going into this next game, I can't take up any shots. It's now or never. If we lose this game, we're done. So I just took every single shot that I had, and I mean, it was working for me. So I just kept shooting.
I got to know, what is that feeling like? And you've had a lot of these throughout your career. I remember watching you back in high school. What is it like when the basket is as big as an ocean? What does that feel like?
It's amazing. It's so fun. Feel like I can shoot anything and it'll go in. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. I can remember so many times in my mind where it just goes up and it goes in. The basket is as big as an ocean for
awesome.
Weeder. It's a great feeling for sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you've been on the phone a lot. You've been racking up the cell phone bill, talking to a lot of teams. I was kind of curious, what other teams were interested in you, or what other teams were you willing to go visit and discuss about taking your talent someplace else?
Yeah, my first visit was K-State. They had good program and everything, nothing bad to say about them. And then Oklahoma State was my second visit, so those were my only two visits. I've had other people interested in me, like Iowa was interested in me, Iowa State, Ole Miss reached out to me. There were just a bunch of emails and stuff I didn't really get to. There's so many I couldn't answer back, but yeah.
What is it to an extent? I know as a high schooler, you probably would have loved to have had this type of attention out of high school to go play these type of, but how has it been, to kind of grow and develop as a young woman and all that stuff to take on this now where you have a little bit more experience in life?
Yeah, I mean, everyone has their own path of getting to where they want to get. This is my journey. But yeah, just seeing how much I've grown since freshman year in high school. I mean, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Telex Weeder once again is our guest on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. We're talking with the future Oklahoma State Cowgirl, the Division II Player of the Year at Fort Hays State just this previous season. Telex, a few more for you here. You've, of course, been following along with Coach Hoyt and the recruiting that she's done of other players. I think it felt like a huge win to get you, I'm sure, from her perspective. But looking at all the pieces that she has landed at Oklahoma State, what has been your thoughts from another player's perspective on adding like Audie Crooks and others that are going to be playing alongside? And then also on top of that, your thoughts of playing with these players that were stars for other programs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing seeing what she's been doing with the transfer portal. I was her first commit out of the portal, and I mean, it was just me and the one that was returning, and I was never worried about it. I knew she was going to build a strong team. And yeah, her getting Audie Crooks, it excites me. I'm really excited just to get down to Stillwater and work with her and see if we have a player connection.
So what are the next steps for you, like going into the summer? I assume you're probably going to head down to Stillwater here in the summer, but is it just a lot of workouts for you right now individually?
Yeah, right now it's just me lifting, shooting workouts, conditioning. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. And I'll move up to Stillwater in June, and then we'll start team stuff. So
Is it stuff that they have pushed out to you that they want you to work on, or conditioning and things like that? Or is this stuff once again that you've kind of done on your own?
They actually sent me some workouts yesterday. I've kind of just been doing it my own. But I'll start doing those workouts that they sent me yesterday.
I want to go back through your career a little bit. Could you give me a couple of the highlights of your career to this point in time? Then go all the way back to high school if you want to. I don't really care. You can reminisce with me. You know me from back in the high school days. But what have been some of the highlights of your basketball career to this point?
Yeah, high school. Obviously winning state championships. Those were big highlights. Those relationships I had in high school and being coached by Bill Bierman. He's an amazing coach. When moving to college, just growing as a person, I would be like, it's a big highlight. And as a player, obviously, meeting all my new friendships I have now. But yeah, we've had really good, successful seasons since I've been in Hayes. And last year we had a successful season. It just kind of didn't end how we wanted to, unfortunately. But yeah, getting coached by the Hayes coaches, they're amazing coaches. I have all good things to say about them. And Hayes is just an amazing community as well. They supported us so much. But yeah.
What is you talked with Garrett a little bit there talk to us about, what your next steps are, when it comes to kind of getting down to Stillwater. What are kind of your goals when you step foot on campus there at Stillwater and going into this year? What are some of the goals that you maybe have set for yourself as a player?
Yeah, I once I get to Stillwater, I mean, put my head down and work, and I'm fighting for a starting spot, and I want to get stronger. I want to just develop as a player, and if I can play after this year, that's one of my goals. But I just know I have to keep developing as a player and just making an impact on my teammates there and just being a leader.
You've played a lot of high-level basketball. MIAA, probably one of the tougher conferences in Division II, and then, of course, going to state championships at Goodland. How do you think all of that going back to high school to now, your Division II days, has prepared you for what's going to be the high-level basketball in the Division I Big 12?
I mean, yeah, just kind of from high school to Hayes, leadership is a big thing. I've had to step into that role a lot. But yeah, the faster pace, obviously in the MIAA, it's going to be different from D1. D1's just different pace. But I think I'm ready. Like, I've worked hard for this, so I think I'm ready for it.
Are there any games that stand out to you in your mind that you've played to this point in time that you're like, yeah, that was a good day?
Yeah, I would say when I probably scored 45, 46 in those games, that was a good day.
Yeah, I would say so. I would tell you the game that I remember the most, Lex. I think it was senior year against Silver Lake in the semifinals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you went out and everyone kind of got hurt, and you dropped, I think, 30-plus points, and you had the 4-point play where you threw it up from 3 and got fouled. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
That sticks in my mind from your high school playing days. That was one of your better games that I remember. But, yeah, I'm sure 46 blows out of the water.
Well, I remember the 45-point game. It was a Northwest, right?
Yeah.
I was calling the men's game after, so I showed up, and I think you guys were down 20 or something, and then all of a sudden, like 8 minutes later, you're up 20. It was a wild turnaround.
Yeah, I kind of forgot we were down that game, but yeah, we were down about 20 at half, I think. But
well, the switch flipped and everything got back in order there in the second part there. So, Telexa Weeder, future Oklahoma State Cowgirl, Division II Player of the Year, 40 State. Telexa, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for not ignoring me so many times because I kept pestering you about joining the show. So thank you for making it work. And I'd say hopefully we'll catch up again when you kind of get settled down to Oklahoma State. All right.
Yep. Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Telexa. Once again, great stuff there from Telexa Weeder joining us here on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Great stuff from her. I'm so glad that I wasn't like super pestering. I don't let people think like I was texting her every day, but it was like once a week, like, hey, I know you're busy, but I'd love to have you on the show. And the first time she said, she's like, oh, yeah, we can make that work. And then she kind of got busy because I think I texted her when she was wrapping up kind of that. She was kind of getting those accolades of being MIAA Player of the Year, Division II Player of the Year. And I was like, well, can we get you on the show? And she's like, yeah. I'll get, we'll make it work. And I said, okay. And I said, we can do it this way or this way or this way, whatever works in your schedule. And didn't hear anything for a couple weeks. And then this whole thing happened with the portal. I was like, I'm not going to text her now because she's probably busy with this stuff. And then I text her again. And she's like, oh yeah, I forgot. And so bless her heart. I
believe she's the third straight MIAA player of the year at Fort Hays. There was 2 before and now Telexa. So pretty.
It's a powerhouse women's program
for sure. I mean, great pickup. I remember when they did get Telexa out of high school, I know the coaching staff was a little surprised that she didn't get any D1 looks out of high school. And now here she is going to play in the Big 12.
If I remember correctly, and once again, my memory could be wrong, but I thought one of her big goals was she wanted to play Division I basketball. And I think she really wanted to go to Wichita State out of high school. She's like, I'd like to go to Wichita State. And it just never came. Nothing ever came. But yeah, give her all the credit for going out there, thanks again to Hayes for giving her an opportunity, obviously, but then taking that opportunity and absolutely sprinting with it, not running with it, sprinting with it. And didn't really get to play her first year. And I always love, what is the women's coach name again?
Talia Cars.
Yeah, Coach Cars. She was like, yeah, I don't know how smart I look not playing her first year that she was here. That's kind of a joke, but she's been great ever since and hasn't looked back. And God, I and listening to her talk, she's going to go work her what off to earn a starting spot. And if she can do that with that lineup at Oklahoma State, which, by the way, if you haven't looked at the Oklahoma State women's basketball porter class, it's loaded a starting spot in that like she hopes to do. Don't tell that girl she can't do anything. She can do it all. It's been impressive.
If you're going to shoot 40% from 3, it's going to be hard not to start you.
Well, like I said, that's what happened. I swear, I wish I had that ability where you could throw it in the ocean every time. That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Great stuff there from Telexa Weeder, and thank you to her for joining us on the Blitz. All right, 7:51 Mountain, 8:51 Central Time on a Tuesday show. We'll take a break, come back. It's a busy day in local sports and a beautiful weather day for it. We'll get to that and a little bit more next in the Morning Blitz.
We've been serving ag families for generations because we believe farming isn't just a job, it's a legacy. Whether you're just starting out or expanding your operation, F&B Bank has flexible lending solutions designed for you. This is Loan Officer Kennedy Frank at F&B Bank. We're proud to be your hometown ag lender, member FDIC.
Want the latest devices and great service? You'll find both at Next Tech Wireless. Right now, when you bring your number to us, you can get unlimited data plus the iPhone 17 for as low as $25 a month. That's the phone you want, the coverage you need, and the price that fits your budget. Why pay more somewhere else? Make the switch, keep your number, and start saving today. Next Tech Wireless, 20 years of connecting Kansas.
Got your tax refund? Don't blow it. Upgrade it at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Get into a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 up to $7,000 in rebates or 2.9% for 48 months. Or into a 26 GMC Sierra 2500 $1,000 rebate or 4.9% for 48 months. And the 26 GMC Acadia 2.9% APR plus $750 in rebates with GM Financial. Your refund won't last, but a new GMC will. Stop by Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland or visit hurlchev.com.
Some days, self-care starts with Nature-Made gummy vitamins, a deep breath, and a little encouragement.
Mom, I'm really nervous.
Me too, honey, but we've got this. Repeat after me. I'm going to have a good day.
I'm going to have a good day.
I choose joy no matter what comes my way.
I bring joy wherever I go.
Quality gummy vitamins from Nature-Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Saving money in your interior staining project when you shop at Menards. Varathane Premium Fast Dry is an interior wood stain that provides color in just one coat. It's ideal for interior wood projects, including floors, furniture, and more. Save big on Varathane Fast Dry Wood Stain today. View our entire selection of stain and accessories on Menards.com. Plus, check out our weekly flyer to find all the great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
All the sports you love, all in one place.
Ooh, this will come in handy.
This is the Morning Blitz.
All right, we got about 5-6 minutes left to go in the program today. Thanks again to Lex Weeder. Fantastic stuff from her. Of course, if you missed any of it, go back and watch the show on YouTube or check out the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. Before we get to local sports today, yesterday, Goodland Cowboy golf team captured its second tournament championship of the year. They win Monday at the Ulysses Invitational at Bentwood Golf Course. Cowboys had 4 golfers finish in the top 12 places. Braylon Mole was their top golfer. He finished third with a 10 over 82. Goodland did beat Colby on the scoreboard by just 7 strokes, 341 to 348. Colby finishing in runner-up, led by Caleb Dixon, who was the top golfer of the day. Shot a 6 over 78 there on the individual leaderboard to lead the way there. There is a JV golf tournament today at Sugar Hills in Goodland. I know a few area teams will be coming to that. There is the Scott City Relays today. I saw the school parking lot was already full of cars as they were headed down to Scott City for that track and field invite at the Scott City Relays. You have the Logan Invitational today for track as well. Goodland has a tennis invitational today. And then there's baseball and softball. You got Colby Community College baseball going to McCook for a single 9-inning game. Colby baseball at home hosting Hugoton. They're unbeaten. Are the Eagles atop of the GWAC baseball standings, looking to continue that trend as they take on the Hugoton Eagles today. Battle of the Eagles, Eagles against Eagles. And then the Goodland the Colby Lady Eagles will be at Hugoton for a softball doubleheader. And then Goodland, they get Ulysses today. Softball at home at Ray Dye Field, taking on the Tigers for 2, while the baseball team down at Ulysses for a doubleheader. And for those who are curious, yes, we will have coverage of Goodland Cowboy baseball at Ulysses right here on this station with yours truly on Rocket 102.5 KLOE. The Cowboys take on the Tigers down there. I will be heading out this morning and have coverage later on this afternoon. What were you watching? Did you watch the NBA playoffs last night? Did you watch any of that stuff? What were your eyes on last night, Garrett? I got to get to know what you're watching in the evening time.
Yeah, so I watched that Hawks game, the Hawks-Knicks one. I was playing slow pitch softball actually through most of the night, so I didn't get a chance to watch that first game, Cavs-Raptors. I watched the Hawks-Knicks game. What a ball game that was. Hawks coming back and getting the victory to make it 1-1, and then a little bit of the Nuggets T-Wolves game before I fell asleep because Central Time out here is it
was late for Mountain Time.
Yeah, I know. It didn't start till I think 9:40 our time, so it was a very late start, and I watched probably till the end of the third quarter in that game. But that was a tough one for the Nuggets. But
I think I made it to maybe 10 minutes left to go in the game, and that was it. I couldn't make it any further. That was it. Sleep timer was on, and I was out. So that was it. Yeah, Nuggets, by the way, lose 119-114 to the T-Wolves. That series tied up at 1-1 game apiece. I don't know about you. Just to more on that game, I was not impressed with Joker late in the game. He looked like he was disinterested or he was out of shape or something. Was not playing great defense, and his shots were short. Looked like he was gassed.
Sometimes it seems that way. One game he'll look like he doesn't want to be there, and the next game he still doesn't look like he wants to be there, but then he drops 40, 12, and 13 on you, and it's like, oh, okay. But, yeah, I think that series is going to be really good. Those two in the West, the 4-5 Lakers, Rockets, and then the 3-6 Timberwolves and Nuggets, I think those two could have the very possibility of going to 7 games.
Yeah, certainly could. Then, of course, it was C.J. McCollum who took over for the Hawks in that 107-106 win over the Knicks. Weren't they down like 15 at one point in time?
Yeah, it was a great game. And one of the post-game interviews, they asked C.J. McCollum, like, what do you feel about being the new New York City villain? And he goes, I'm not a villain. I just hoop, basically. I just compete, stuff like that. I just hoop.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So that's NBA. Nuggets and T-Wolves play again, I think on Wednesday. No, maybe it's Thursday is when that next game is. Yeah, Thursday is the next game there between the Nuggets and the T-Wolves. For our Nuggets fans out there, there were, not that we got to dive deep into this, winners last night in the NHL playoffs: Flyers, Hurricanes, Stars, and Oilers. The one thing that stood out to me about the playoffs last night, watching a little bit of the hockey, was when did the Ducks go to orange uniforms? They look kind of ridiculous. I don't know why. I was watching the Anaheim Ducks, and they look like they've got orange uniforms. I'm like, when did this happen? This looks dumb. Can we go back to the Mighty Ducks, the D2 Mighty Duck logos? That's what I want.
Isn't hockey in Anaheim dumb anyway? I mean, shouldn't they be up in like Canada or something, or somewhere up north?
Just remember the Florida Panthers. They've had great runs, and they're down south. That's the thing. Like, you think about the Wild, for example. Like, you think the Wild would be amazing at hockey being in Minnesota, and they have been okay, not great.
Yeah.
I just think about that a lot. Like, man, it's got to be bad to be a Minnesota hockey fan when your pro team is just not very good. It's really that great. And then also yesterday with some baseball, you had the Rockies. They lose 12-3 to the Dodgers. The Dodgers hit 5 homers in that win. But Rockies still end up with a split against LA. I think that's a feather in the cap compared to where they were a year ago for sure. They welcome in the Padres for a series starting tonight at Coors Field. And this was a joke. So the Royals lose 7-5 in 12 innings to the Orioles. Sorry to your dad about this, but because he's a big Royals guy, you were saying, right?
Yep.
So sorry to Gerard about this, but if you would have had the under, you were feeling really good in the 9th. It was 1-0.
They just can't get out of their own way. 1 out away from winning that game, ending the streak, and then they lose. And I think it was 12 innings. Give up a grand slam, man.
Yeah, grand slam to Leody Tavares, who had the 12 and a 5.
He was a Mariner last year for a little bit, and he was horrible. So I know a lot about him.
You know plenty about him.
No.
As a bright spot, Seth Lugo was fantastic. 1 hit over 7 innings, and Jack Caglione did have his first homer of the season there, but the Royals did lose their 8th straight. They have game 2 tonight against the Orioles, 6:40 Central Time on AM 790 KXXX. All right, let's get to the walk-off here, and we got to get out of here.
And back lifts his ball deep to right. How about a walk-off Gray? Thomas to the 10. Difference going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes swings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
So you failed to give us the stats from your performance in slow pitch softball last night. So what did Garrett Wellbrock do at slow pitch softball?
Oh, it was a good day at the plate for me, but not a good day for our team. We lost both. We've been playing real well. This is a rough day for us, and it usually doesn't happen.
What's a good day at the plate for Garrett Wellbrock?
A couple of base hits. It's just as long as I don't get out maybe once a game, because it's slow pitch softball.
Right.
If you're going 1 for 4, 1 for 5, it's a rough day. But 3 for 4, 3 for 5. We'll take those days.
Well, there is a massive baseball game tonight at Hoagland Park in Lawrence. It's a top 20 matchup. Number 16 Kansas against number 20 Nebraska. You can watch it on ESPN Plus. It's going to be a doozy. These two teams played in Lincoln a little over a week ago. Things got testy, real testy. Guys were coming out of the dugout, and guess what? Both these teams need this win to keep in the hunt for hosting regionals.
Crazy.
Hard to believe, but that's what's on the line today.
Shout out to my guy, Will Jeske, on the Nebraska baseball team. Lived with him in Wichita for a summer. One of my good friends.
So there we go. Maybe Will's been dealing with some hamstring issues this year. He can't stay in the lineup. Hopefully he can he's got big power. Hopefully he can get going. We'd love to see him hit something there in this game against KU. Huge game tonight. I'm kind of disappointed I won't get to see much of it, but I'll track it on social media. But Nebraska KU, if you got nothing better to do tonight, watch that. It's going to be a doozy of a college baseball game. Fun show today. Thanks to Alexa Weeder. Thanks to you, of course, for listening. We're back tomorrow in 23 hours. Hope you join us on a Wednesday edition of the Morning Blitz. We'll see you then.